Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Ask Coach Marie. I'm Marie O'Neill, founder of Padma Life Coaching and your host on this series. This is the place where you ask a question and I give my unique opinion as a life renewal coach, astrologer, and past life regression facilitator. Please know that I am not a therapist and I will never tell you what you must do. Each week on Friday, a new video is released with me answering 2 questions from the viewers. I, in addition, talk about various other life renewal topics. Let's go ahead and get started with the questions for this week. Our first question comes from Allie, who is in Virginia. Allie writes, "What can I do to improve my emotional health?" Allie, thank you for this question because this is a question that a lot of people are asking. And there are some simple things that can be done to help. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to completely overhaul your emotional health with these suggestions that I'm going to give you. And at the same time, it will, in my view, help to improve your emotional health. One thing that you can do is take care of your physical health. That could be doing one simple thing. It's not like you have to create a whole exercise routine or something that you're doing every day or even every other day. It could be one simple thing for your physical health. That could be cutting out sugar. That's a major endeavor for some people, and for others, it's not. You'd be amazed at what happens when you do stop eating sugar. You go through the withdrawals initially, but then you start to feel better because your brain is able to function better. And of course, that increases your emotional health. It could be that you decide that you're going to start walking. And I would recommend getting a buddy to walk with if you do this, so that it makes it highly probable that you will continue with the walking routine. Walking with someone is a wonderful way to help improve your emotional health, in addition to the exercise, because you're walking with someone and hopefully having good conversation. Another thing that you can do to improve emotional health, which is quite interesting, is watching good movies that are fun versus heavy movies. Watching something that is upbeat will help you too. If you can join groups that are positive groups that will increase your emotional well-being, volunteering is another way. If you can help somebody else, then that helps to improve your emotional health. In addition to benefiting yourself, you will be benefiting others too. To improve your emotional health, you can work on yourself physically, you can volunteer, you can join groups, you can come up with some type of exercise routine, you can cut out sugar, which is going to definitely increase your emotional well-being. In addition to all of this, look at the people that you are surrounding yourself with. Are they positive? Are they upbeat? Are they woe is me? Taking an inventory of your friends and who you want to be in your inner circle is key to helping to improve your emotional health, in addition to all of the other suggestions that I've given. I hope this helps you. Please write me and let me know. Thank you. Our topic for today is courage. Courage is one of those traits that some people have in spades and other people have to develop. Courage is very important if we are going to be able to stand up for ourselves, speak our truth, live an authentic life. Courage is one of the foundational skills that we must have. In addition to being a foundational skill to living an authentic life, it also is connected to how we develop our consciousness. And this is because it takes courage to live from our intuition, from what we are feeling inside versus what we are seeing reflected back to us out in society. Society says we are to be a certain way, we're to act a certain way, behave a certain way, have a certain job or series of jobs. And yet, if that doesn't mesh with our internal knowing, we have conflict. And it's easy for us to go with what society says or what we think society is telling us versus what we feel on the inside. It takes courage to do that. Now, some people have courage to go out there and face a lion. That's a particular type of courage. And I'm not discounting that type of courage. The courage that I'm referring to is being able to live your authentic self. That is a challenge. What I have found over the years is that we're not asked to have that type of courage all at once. We are given small tests and small situations where we need to demonstrate our courage. And as we work with developing our courage, we start small with small acts of having to demonstrate courage. And we keep going and going until we build up to a point where we're able to speak our truth, or able to say no, set boundaries. And sometimes it takes courage to set a boundary too. Not sometimes, a lot of times it takes courage to do that. So this type of courage is an inner courage. It's not an outer courage. It's not an outer courage to go and tackle, an animal or go run a race, or although that is courage, but that's not the type of courage that I'm referring to here. To develop the type of courage that I'm referring to means being able to listen to that small voice inside you that is giving you direction and you're following it. And that's not always easy. An example of courage would be, say you're saving for a house. You know how much money you need to save. Something comes up, and maybe a vacation opportunity comes up, and you decide, oh, I want to go on this vacation. But you also want to buy the house. It takes courage to say no to the vacation possibility so that you can buy the house. This might seem trivial, but it's not, because you're developing your muscle with courage, and that is important to do. So that type of courage you build on, and before you know it, you're able to then be more authentic with who you are. You'll be able to say no. You'll be able to stand up to the bully. You'll be able to live a more fulfilled life. That's courage. Now, our next question comes from Samantha, who is in Portland, Oregon. Samantha writes, I've been trying to get into meditation for years without much success. Whenever I attempt it, my mind keeps going with thoughts, one after another. Do you have any suggestions on how to stop the thoughts? Thanks for the question, Samantha. It's a very good question. With meditation and thoughts, the goal is not to stop the thoughts. The goal is to not be attached to the thoughts, which means when you're sitting to meditate, a lot of times the thoughts, because you're doing your best to sit quietly, a lot of times the thoughts are just loud and they just keep coming. They keep bombarding you. And that's because, of course, you're sitting doing your best to be quiet. So your mind is not distracted by anything outside of you. It can focus on itself. And so then you notice the thoughts that are there. With thoughts that come through, the goal is to not become attached to the thoughts because they're going to keep coming. They typically don't subside. The thing is to not get distracted. When you're sitting and the thought comes, recognize that it's a thought and release it. And do it again and again. And see if you can rest your attention on the space that is in between one thought and another thought. That could be maybe a second, but see if you can rest your mind there. If you have a thought that comes up and you follow it, that's okay too. When you recognize that you're following the thought, just bring your mind back to the present moment and don't disparage yourself or beat yourself up for following the thought. This is just the way the mind works. In addition to that, with meditation, you can do meditation without sitting. You can do meditation when you are doing the dishes or the housework, or even when you're focusing on a project. Have you noticed when you're focusing on a project, your mind is just on the project, nothing else comes in, no other thought? You're focusing in the present moment. And that's what meditation is. It's staying in the present moment without the distractions. So, please don't beat yourself up about the thoughts. It's okay that the thoughts come. What you want to do is just make sure that you do your best to not attach to the thought. Just keep letting them go. And if you find yourself following the thought, when you recognize you followed the thought, and it could be 5 minutes later, that's okay. Bring your mind back to present. You'll notice over time that you're able to bring your mind back into the present moment quicker. This can take a long time to develop the skill to sitting quietly and being able to release the thoughts consistently without following them. I hope that answers your question, and thank you for asking it. We've come to the end of the questions for this week. Thank you for viewing this video. If you haven't liked and subscribed, please do so. That helps the algorithms. And in addition to that, you will be notified each time a new video is released. Please send your questions to padmacoach@icloud.com if you have questions that you would like me to answer on these videos. I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye-bye.